Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Ice Project. This is a new segment. This is old.
This is old.
Can I start that again? Hey guys,
You're rusty. He's lost it.
This setup's throwing me off.
It's because it feels professional. This is what happens if you go on like the morning show or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's real like techie. It's happening.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the Ice Project. This is our Soundboard episode, first one of 2022. Joined as always by my good friend, my mentor. What else are you?
Sidekick,
business.
Your right-hand woman.
Right-hand woman.
The only woman in your life for now.
Yeah, at the moment, you're actually not far off. Jade Spooner, welcome back.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. All right, life update. Got a new boyfriend now, so you want to touch on that quickly?
Let's just jump right straight into that. I'm so in love. I am. I fell in love 3 months ago. Great guy. He's just, the bee's knees. He's a bit of a YKTR fan.
Was that the catch?
That's how we linked. I met him at the pub and he was wearing a YKTR shirt and I was like, hey,
We used to always say this, if you rock YKTR, you get girls. So if you rock YKTR, you can get a girl like Jade Spooner. So pretty good.
Yeah, no, he's a really good guy. Just he's a tradie. He's really just like local.
He's your kind of guy, isn't he?
He's my kind of guy. He's just a genuine nice guy. And
Yep.
I'm very in love. So yeah, happy days.
Wow.
There was a few disappointed fans. There was when I first debuted him on my Instagram, I got a few YKTR boys like, dang, it's not us. I'm like, we told you we were just friends. We said it all along.
People have to believe it. So obviously generally very happy for you. So
thank you.
Rolling into 2022.
Big year.
Yeah, big year. What's the goals for you?
Well, I shook the boat last year when I exited the company. I'll finalise that exit hopefully maybe Q1, Q2 of this year, which means I'll get my foot out of that camp, which will be really exciting. I'm just excited to kind of close the chapter. Like obviously doing the deal is like important and it's really exciting and, it'll mean that I have to keep my wits about me when I actually close it. But all in all, I think for me, I'm a very spiritual person. I'm very self-aware. And right now it sort of just feels like a chapter that's not been shut.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's like director obligations and stuff like that. I'm still invested, but I can't reinvest into anything else. I'm very stuck. But in the same breath, I'm starting to work on my other stuff. And the consulting gig is that's just been like, we'll probably go into it today when we talk about, goal setting and passion and things like that. But to relight that flame of just like loving what I'm doing it's been a God-given gift.
Because it took an emotional toll on you. Obviously, we haven't talked about it too much on podcast, but from a personal standpoint, as one of your friends, it sucked the life out of you, didn't it?
It really did. And you know what? I was listening to this podcast yesterday and it was talking about, it was that Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, and he was talking to this life coach about just that feeling of being stuck. And basically, like, if you are hungry, your cue to getting food is that hunger cue. If you're if you're tired, that's the cue that you need more sleep. And if you're stuck, it's the cue that you've stopped growing and you need to move. You need to do something. You need to make a change. And for me, like my life last year, as much as on paper and on social media, we were kicking goals. We were Forbes 30 under 30. We were, Young Entrepreneurs of the Year, fastest growing tech company, all this kind of stuff. That looks glamorous. But if you're not growing, if you don't feel challenged every day, if your passion is starting to like dim slightly, the monetary side of things, all that sort of stuff, it
wears off.
It's a big compromise, it's a big compromise. So yeah, last year was difficult, made some tough choices, but this year I'm hoping to obviously launch my new tech company in the same space. Health and fitness, I think, is like under the same umbrella, but I do think fitness is a different take on wellness. It's not the food kind of side of things, and I'm really passionate about fitness. So to take off that company will be awesome. And then second to that, I want to sort of model out my consulting so it's much more accessible and scalable. And
streamlined. Scalable is an important one, isn't it?
Yeah, courses. I think that's where it's heading for me. So I'm started to write again, and that's a big thing for me. I love getting behind the computer, love just writing, putting all my knowledge into like really like segmented, structured pieces, and then hopefully we'll package them up and sell them out.
I know you're a published author, but what's the kick about writing for you?
I think it's a bit of a marry of passion and talent. I think when people are good at writing, I think when you're doing it, you kind of get that reaffirmation of, oh, this is my thing. Like I'm good at this, and copywriting and journaling and all that kind of stuff. It's always come very naturally to me. So I think to do something well with ease, it's just a nice thing to do as like both a passion project and obviously it's a bit pragmatic, like the ends will justify the means type thing for me. I just love it. You're just same with you with like creatives and like, when you're making content and stuff, you're quite evidently very good at it. And that's always a nice little, just pep in your step.
Yeah. All right. So we're rolling to the end of January. A lot of people's New Year's resolutions are already over.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about goal setting. Why are goals important?
I think they're periodic milestones. It's kind of like almost like a self-awareness, like tracking piece sort of thing. I get a lot of, I've been putting out a lot of Q&As out there just, in the business and consulting space. And I've got a lot of, and you might get this as well, I'm lost, I'm unmotivated, I don't know what my thing is, I don't know how to make money, all that kind of stuff. And I think there's been this like entrepreneur culture that's kind of formed in regards to like goal setting. Everything needs to be big and extravagant. And it's like, I've got to make so much money and I've got to have this.
My North Star.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that's life. I think, when you're goal setting, I think the importance of them is that you're going somewhere. And I think it needs to be, when you're formulating them, somewhere where you can go. You more than anyone. And I think, for me to sort of sit here and say, oh, I want to become a huge restaurant entrepreneur this year. Anything is possible, but that's not my thing, So I think you've got to create goals in the context of you and your God-given gift. And second to that, realistic goals that you're not going to be shattered every time you don't reach them.
I think it's important to have a combination of the both, like the big North Star, and obviously when you do like scaling up books like the Rockefeller ones, they have that big, hairy, audacious goal, which is important. But I think I'm similar to you where last week in the staff meeting we talked about having like 5 things a day and just crossing them off. And the consistency of that, of the 1%ers, of just going, that's a win day, and you just combine them, you look up after 18 months and you're in a completely different spot. I think there's more merit in that,
you can't be too hard on yourself either. Like I've come out of Evolution where I've had 28 staff, and there was always someone that could do something that I couldn't do, and I had the resource and the availability of those people to be able to lean on them and whatnot. And now I've exited the company and I haven't started building my team yet, and it's just me on my own doing my consulting, and now I'm looking into like trying to find a website developer. It's all back to square one, but you can't think of it like that. It's a new age, it's a new space, it's a new dream, it's a new vision. So everything's got to be contextual and a bit of perspective. And if you start beating yourself up, you simply won't even cross off one thing off the list.
You don't want to beat yourself up, but then you don't want to do the same mistake twice as well. So that's the other side of it as well. So like a lot of people will fail the first time, beat themselves up, and then give up.
But I've
just got to keep rolling.
I've noticed going second time round now, like both.
It's going to be quicker, isn't it?
It's so much quicker. I'm like doing things now, and I thought this would take me like a week to research, like past Jade building Evolution. So and even when you look at other companies and things like that, like when I sit in like the consulting seat and whatnot, like deep diving into other companies, like the clarity is so much crisper than when I was experiencing it for the first time as like a 21-year-old trying to like navigate this business world. So you get better with every mistake there is.
All right. So how do you set up your goals?
I do. Well, this year for 2022, I did the classic 31st of Jan, sat down with a diary, and then I categorized them. I did.
Sober, drunk?
No, I was just completely sober. I did. That's another thing as well. I think like I've definitely, to make big decisions and clear decisions with confidence, you have to take yourself out of, things that don't align with your life and in a bigger picture. So lifestyle things like, partying on the weekend and stuff like that have become lesser. I've put myself like wholly into like health and fitness now because that's going to be my new space, and I'm practicing what I preach, all that kind of stuff. So
Gil can be into too. Some of the greats.
She can.
So she's put that away, have you?
No, I haven't hung up the boots, but just like frequency, just dial that down. Yeah, I mean,
what's a good? I'm thinking about this now. I'm thinking once a month blowout is kind of a good spot, is it?
I think so. I kind of think about it sort of in the same way that I look at diet. Like I think if you're consistent 95% of the time, that extra 5% can just keep your hat on a little firmer for the rest of your 95%.
Yeah, 100%.
Like
100%.
I think I practiced it when I was at Evolution. The whole business was built on the philosophy of 80-20, 80% whole food, 20% soul food. And I think that is very much applicable to life as well. But in saying that, I do think that just like a weight loss, there is like a more rigid period of time where you have to, knuckle down and just double down, tighten the belt and everything like that. And for me, I've, even though I'm about to exit with no financial worries and things like that, I'm still a startup. Like I still have to keep, I can be someone that has done something and will never do something again, or I can be a serial entrepreneur, and that will mean a bit of sacrifice at the start. So I can't be all like oh, I'm a multimillionaire. I just, like I can't be all like that. It's not.
And that was funny. Like, this is kind of
tempting.
Like, yeah. When you told me how much you're going to exit for, we're like, I was pumped for you. But then I straight away next message like,
no.
I feel like you could do more.
Oh, 100%. And it was funny because actually I was listening to this podcast with Gary Vee. Have you heard of a guy called Tillman Fertitta? He's an American billionaire. He is a massive he mostly does restaurants. He's huge in the hospitality industry, but he's got aquariums, and I think he's got a basketball team or something, Houston Rockets or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, something like that. Anyway, he's a billionaire, and he was having a conversation with Gary Vee this morning, and I was just listening to it. It was really funny because Gary Vee was saying that when he was like 29 and he was exiting a company, his parents' company or something like that, he was like, everyone was saying, you've made it, and he was like, no, I'm just getting started. And like that's how I sort of feel as well now. Obviously very grateful for the head start. It feels like a head start, and very grateful for what the past has been able to produce. But I look at that life 12 months ago and I'm like, no way in hell would I go back there, because it seems so stagnant and seems such like an introduction to like really where I want to be in my life. So
it's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's really exciting.
So to bring it all the way back, goal setting, how do you set them up?
So I categorically do them because I think, success is just as much about, how you construct your life from a health perspective as it is your business, as it is your love life, as it is just everything. So I do them categorically in that respect and kind of touch on everything. There'll always be like a macro goal, like a big picture, and then there'll always be like micros like underneath it.
So you got finance goals over here. How many within that do you have?
My finance ones are pretty...
You sit at the moment, so
what's really funny. That's like, I think that's a bit to it, but I've kind of learnt that money isn't my driver. Yep. So it was funny when I was writing all my goals. Like my finance ones were so small. It was like exit for X amount of money this year. Build We Trained for under $1 million. Like it was just like it was very just small. There was only a couple. But then my health and fitness ones were really long. My relationship ones were quite long. My daily habits were really long. And then my We Trained goals and my consulting goals were really long as well.
So out of all those goals, which ones sort of really stick out to you that you want to share? Is it the daily habits? Is it the health ones?
Okay, 3. So health and fitness wise, it's really important to me this year that I wake up at 5 o'clock every day. That's just, and I know that seems so small, but that's
late.
Late for you. You've had brekkie, you've gone for a run, Mello's been taken for a walk at that time. But I think if you're looking at consistency, like that's something that I can do daily, whether it be a weekend or whether it be a weekday, I can wake up by 5 every day. So I set that as a goal, because that means that if, I get an extra couple of hours in the morning to when I don't have that goal, then that's like 14 extra hours a week of
You
stuff.
feel so much better when
So much better.
When you walk past people, you're like, fuck, I've been up for 4 hours and you've done nothing. You've just woken up.
And again, like I know these sound like small goals, but like these are the ones that if you do them day in, day out for 365 days, you've had a crack a year, in some context. That was a big one for me. Having a product with We Trained by the end of the year. Again, it seems broad, but it's, if you know tech, you know that doing it within 12 months is not easy. Yep. So that's a thing. And then also on the consulting front as well, I want to have like automated streamlined systems. So building that out as well. So essentially there'll be like 2 tech goals that are quite big to me, and then my everyday. So wake up by 5, stick to my calories and macros, do my daily training. I want to train at least like 6 times a week.
Yep.
And then I do 10,000 steps a day, just like very basic stuff there, but do them day in and day out. Like
with your training, and I know you've been really consistent with it, is it important to have someone you're accountable to? Because I know you've got Liv there and she's your best mate at the moment. And she loves training. She can run a marathon, which is disgusting.
No, Liv's unreal. She's super fit, and her mindset, it's so funny, I just got goosebumps when we were talking about that. But her mindset with training was something that really attracted me to doing business with her, and why I'm partnering her with We Trained, because I'm a huge believer that if you're disciplined in one aspect of life, that can translate to others. And I saw something in her in training that I've not really seen in a lot of people. It's something that I see in like athletes and really great business people. It's just this non-negotiable, like really high-end discipline, and she's just great. So we train together, but now I'm kind of in this rhythm, and this is why I think daily routine is really important, where like it doesn't really matter if Liv's there or not. I now have knowledge on, how to formulate my own program because of her, but I still just do it and I still hammer myself even when she's not there. So it's like this inherent discipline that you get after repetition.
Yeah, and I felt myself jumping in like run clubs and stuff like that, but I trained so much better within those environments because I don't have to like set the effort or set the mood or set the tone for that type of training. I just sort of plug myself in and roll. And because I have to like think for most of the day or always reactional when you're an entrepreneur, I like the idea of not having to think and just rock up and do what you need to do.
Yeah, I agree. And like you could probably vouch for this. Like it seems so simplistic, but how much does daily movement impact you as a human being, your output, your productivity, what you give to others and who you become? That's why I'm so passionate about fitness.
And a lot of people ask me why I get up so early. So from 3:30 to 6:30, I don't have to talk to anyone. Like I can absorb information, so I can work out. I talk to Mello, say hello to Mello.
You're a really true loader, aren't you? You're really that way inclined.
Nah, but then I can listen to music, work out, and then I can listen to a podcast. I don't really have to talk to anyone. So like I'm quiet those first couple hours, and it allows me time to think. It allows me time to think about problems within business, within personal life. But it allows me to spend time with myself. And if you're comfortable in your own mind, it's a beautiful place to be.
Yeah. Well, I would say fuck getting up at 3:30, but when I was doing the calendar club last year, remember last Feb when I ran the K for every day of the month.
Are you doing that this year?
I don't know. I'm on the fence. I think so. I might do it. I've got a hens on the 25th, which is just rocking my boat at the moment. But otherwise, I may do it. But I used to get up at 3:45 and do my runs then. And there was something about the darkness and hitting the pavement at that time of the morning where it was like so liberating. And it just, I don't know, does something, washes out your brain. It's really nice.
Just no one's the world's not up yet.
Yeah.
So you just spend time with yourself.
Yeah.
So for me, for goal setting, when I type out a goal on my phone, pen and paper.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I don't know what it is, but it's funny because so my new boyfriend, he owns a signage company, right? And he's got this huge factory out west type thing. Anyway, I went and visited the factory and I walk in, right? There's manila folders everywhere in his office. Very organised. They're all in trays, but there's like hundreds of manila folders. And I said, babe, this looks like a real estate agency from 1995. I said, what programs are you using? Like what? And he's like, I just like writing everything. I don't know what it is, but I just like writing everything. And he has this thing where like he gets into like his desk and he needs to have the papers set up and it's like to-do list on one and then it's like job 1, job 2 and it's all paper. I think naturally there are some people that are a bit, old school like that and it's a hard habit to shake. I wrote my only book. I handwrote a lot of it and then retyped it. Very weird because, time is money, right? And that was double the work. But I don't know, something about that pen and paper notion that just...
Maybe just because pen and paper's been around a lot longer than technology.
Have you seen those new pads, no pads though, the Think pads where you can you write out the notes and then they save as a document?
Oh, really? I don't know, man. Something about...
I know. Yeah, I agree with that. I think daily to-do lists are very productive doing it that way, but I think when it comes to actual like business documentation, I think CRM programs and sales funnels and all that, it's a no-brainer for me. But there's a lot of things I still handwrite.
All right, so you're starting a new business in 2022. Why should everyone else start a business that's into entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I was gonna add that as well. So this Tillman Fertitta guy that I'm like now obsessed with, this American billionaire, he said that everyone's got a God-given talent, and for him, he says that he was never the smartest man in the room, and he'll admit that his grades at school and everything like that just sucked, wasn't his thing, but he understood business. So he said when everyone else was studying at school, he was like selling candy, and then he went into the hospitality industry and stuff like that, and he was very aware that his God-given talent was business, and I think that that's really important to mention as well because I think there's a lot of people, and I'm not saying that it's for some and it's not for others. It can be for anyone if you put your mind to something. I totally agree with that. But I think there's certain people that have this inherent ability when it comes to business. They understand human beings, they understand trends, they're risk takers, and they're quite pragmatic in that everything they do is for this thing that they envision. It's like a vision, a mission, why you're here, your why, your purpose. So I think that even though in today's day and age, like right now is an amazing time to start a business for a number of reasons. The world is changing. You blink and it changes because of the way technology is moving, because of the way that,
metaverse, crypto, blockchain.
Exactly. Because of the way that everything is moving, you can put yourself into a space that you're really confident in. And if you're an entrepreneur, it is a great time to start a business. It is a great time to be a business person. But the fact of the matter is,
it's not for everyone.
It isn't for everyone. And I think people need to come to grips with the fact that that's okay. You hear so many entrepreneurs on jumping on the back of mics and, you know, sharing content on Instagram and stuff, and it looks cool. There's something about entrepreneurship that does look cool, but there's also a lot of sacrifice. It's not for everyone. And there's a lot of inherent risk. If you're not good at it, if it's not for you, if it's not, you know, something that's in your like genetic makeup, it might be a disaster. And it might shatter your confidence. You might not ever open another door because you screwed up another one. So you just got to be mindful of what your thing is. And if you're onto something in that, like you have a business already that has validation and you're making a bit of money and you just want to take it up a notch, like, yeah, it's a great time.
And I think a lot of entrepreneurs have a lot of risk tolerance as well. Like it's not that we're scared to fail, but like the thought of not trying is the thing that will keep us up at night. And like you said, there's a lot of, like, it does look cool from the front end, but from the back end when you've got invoices to pay and payroll to do, it's stressful.
Yeah. I think there's like two people that start a business as well. I think there's business people, like, so people that just understand human beings, you know, consumer behaviors, their consumer target markets. I think there's those type of people. But then there's also, I think, people that fall into, and I think I began as this person, you know, I just ran into something that I was like, I've got to make this happen. This is my passion. I've got to teach people how to eat. I've got to teach people that they can, you know, have their cake and eat it too. So I think there's like two streams of people. I think identifying who you are, where you sit in that sort of like personality identification, and then going after what you want. I think, yeah, it's a great time to start a business.
So strip it back to that self-awareness of understanding if you're inclined to start a business or not. But next part, vision and mission, and why is this important from day dot? And what have you learned from Evolution to what you've learned now?
Well, I did this podcast a couple of weeks ago. It was called Pivotal Conversations, and the key take home that he took from that was, I feel like, you know, we became successful because we never took our eye off the prize. So I think there was a consistency in the vision, like the whole way along. Like, even though tech was to change the way that things were done, the vision itself never changed. And I think if you're clear about, you know, who you are, what you're doing, and where you're taking it, like where you want it to be, I think that it's really hard to kind of argue with that along the way, because the clarity's there. And, you know, you add some validation along the way. You know, you've put a few strikes on the board, get some money in the bank, you know, you've got customers and all that kind of stuff that sort of supports that validation. I think if you've got a clear vision, it's like a huge part of why businesses succeed is because of that vision.
So you go, I'm Jade, I'm starting a business in 2022. Is the next thing you do go, what's my vision?
Yeah, 100%. What I want to start this. Why do I want to start it? Who is it going to serve? Why would they want us? Why me over other competitors? What competitive edge do I have? Like that sort of thing. It's just it's like, think of it like dating. You wouldn't start going out with someone without sort of understanding a bit about them first. And once you know that there's that compatibility there on like a values basis, you're pretty confident that there could be a relationship on the other side of it. But if you don't have those initial introductory conversations where, you know, you're looking at someone else and you walk away thinking, yeah, I'm sure of who you are because you were sure when you told me, you've got no clue really.
Yeah, values and energy are very important in relationships. You know, when you're young, you just kind of look at looks. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, give me that hottie.
No combo though. All right, establishing a deadline. Why is this important?
It's funny. I think I read something from Elon Musk about if you set yourself. Do you want to quote that?
We talked about this last week in a staff meeting, and there was a study back in the day. Remember those tomato timers? And if you give yourself a time, and someone like say Scope and Chico, who've come from sports backgrounds where like you have to make 1.2 in 5 minutes, you got 80 minutes to win a game. You're so used to racing yourself against the clock. It's applicable to business as well. So it might be like answering emails. If you spend write down 30 minutes and only give yourself 30 minutes to do it, you'll do it in that time. And my dad, the story was like my dad, every summer holidays we had to do a big job, and he made me and my brother paint the fence around the house, which is a big fence. And he goes, you've got the whole of summer to do it. Yeah. And like really,
so it took you the whole summer.
Yeah, it took me the whole summer. So I'll do like a little bit here, a little bit there. Last week of summer I'm going like, trying to get it all done. But if he goes, you got a week to do it, we'll just smash it out in a week. So that's why establishing a deadline is important for me.
I think deadline and pressure can be quite interconnected as well. So like a little bit of like personal pressure on yourself to not think that, you know, like blasé about when it's done, and because there may be someone else that comes to the party prior to you if you're a little too slow. In the same breath though, you know, there's that classic saying, if you don't make it in your 20s, you can make it in your 30s. If you don't make it in your 30s, you can make it in your 40s. Like time is on your side type thing. I do think that there's an element of that as well. You know, when I exited Equolution last August, the common question, like $1 million question was, what are you doing next? When are you doing it? When's it going to launch? All that kind of stuff. And as much as like I valued like that the people had urgency to see what I dive into next, I was also very aware that like there needed to be a period of time where, and in that period of time, I became really certain of my skill set, the future plan, where I wanted to go. Whereas I think if I rushed into it, I'm not sure if it would have panned out the same. You know, I fell in love, like all that kind of stuff. It all happened.
Had a few benders.
It all happened with time on my side. So I think don't rush, but also be wise with your time.
Yeah. So macro patience.
Yeah.
But then on the daily hustle.
Yeah. Like if you look back at the YKTR journey, for example, right? Do you think if you were to do things again, you'd do it a lot faster? Yeah. But then again, how many mistakes have you made along the way that maybe cost you time, but then won't be done again?
Yeah.
You know? So it's
your journey's your journey, isn't it?
It is.
It's in perfect timing of your growth. So, all right, last topic, managing your time and expectations. So you kind of touched on it.
I think you're good at, you're way better at time management than I am. Like I even saw this morning, you did your morning structure and it's like, it's pretty rigid. Like it's quite bang on. You're quite planned out.
But you know what? It took me a while to get back to waking up at 3:30 after the holidays. It's taken me about 3 weeks to get into that rhythm.
Well, it's because it's not a wake up time. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but 3:30 is still sleep.
I think 4's perfect. And I was reading
3:30's fast.
I was reading
that hurts my soul.
It's weird. Like I just go like that, wake up, and my eyes are wide awake. But I was reading Will Smith's book, and his dad had a philosophy in life where he'd wake up at 4 every morning and it'd be workout, then go to work. And then when he gets home at night time, it's like a learning. So just that basic setup is kind of how I'm living. But then when I get home about 2:33 in the afternoon, I have a nap for an hour. And then at night time, I try and do something like either watch a podcast, read a book.
Take ourselves out to dinner by ourselves. That's the thing that we do.
I got Mellow now.
You got Mellow back.
Hey, that's another. We have dogs in your restaurant.
That's another thing to add to the life updates. My little sassy girl got hit by a car. That was.
Did you not smile when you were saying that?
No, well, she's okay. So I'm blessed to have her here. But little girl,
and it was your boyfriend's fault, wasn't it?
He will blame himself forever. But yeah, he took her out, and she started off when she was with him. So it was bloody shattering. But that was something else to add to the start of 2022.
All right, so Soundboard 2022. What's our plans? We're going to start touching on other businesses as well.
Yeah,
like we were talking about Milk Run, so we'll touch on that in the next episode. But we'll start looking at businesses and stripping them all the way down as well. So I think that'll be really interesting insight.
What's hot at the moment, and I think we might also open up a Q&A as well.
Yeah, 100%.
Night before, and then bring in some questions and stuff too.
We're going to commit to fortnightly. Is that the goal? All right, pleasure.
Pleasure.
Thanks for jumping on, Jade.
Thank you. Your time. Thanks. Happy 2022.